Will you join me in lighting the chalice? The words are in your order of service. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Charlie Tyler. I'm the pastoral minister here at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Low Country. Welcome all of you who are members and guests. You have come back to that place where you find your heart supported and your spirit supported and like-minded people to encourage and build you up. I'm glad that you could be here. Those of you who are guests and visitors, in a short while, you'll be given a chance, if you're willing, to stand and give us your name and tell us a little bit about where you're from so that we might be able to encourage you as well, too. Some announcements that I really want to underscore. One is that the process of becoming a member here at the Unitarian Church begins next Sunday. The Path to Belonging, which of course has a UU, we shorten to P2B. So the Path to Belonging starts immediately after our talk back next Sunday. It'll run for the following 2 Sundays after that until May 5th. And so if you're interested, please come and be a part of it. We'd like to know if you're coming, but we don't have to know. You can surprise us, and that's a delight too. So come and be a part of that if you would please. And those of you who are coming, if you'd like to bring a brown bag, lunch, you can put your food in the refrigerator in the kitchen and then bring it out and we'll share our bread together. I also want to draw your attention to the music on Malthus. You saw that clip just a short while ago. This guy's extraordinary, and I really want to encourage you to reach out to friends that they may come and be a part of something that's really a fabulous musician with a skill that's unseen in many parts of our country. I have a message from the Finance Committee. Please return your pledge cards. As of Sunday, we only have 40% response. The numbers that the team needs to balance the budget are important, so if you would please take a look at your schedule and see if you could fill that out. I think that's all the announcements that I need to make. Those of you who are first and second time guests here, if you're willing to stand and just tell us your name and where you're from, we'd love that. Anybody in this bar? Yes, sir, if you would please.
I'm David Shepard, John Shepard's brother. Formerly I was from Hilton Head, but now I'm in Columbus, North Carolina.
Welcome, David. Welcome, David.
Welcome. We want to hear stories about John growing Thank you. Anybody else on this side? In the middle section. First time guests, my far left, your far right. Any first time guests or visitors there? Welcome those of you who are members here. You know why you're here. You know what is offered, the love and the dignity and the value of the human spirit that's contained in this place. There's something that each of you expect when you walk through these doors, and we offer that to each other and for each other. I would ask now that I might be able to turn this over to Clay. Clay, I know you have some announcements, so I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Charlie. Help. We need it. This is all about the rummage sale coming up. Our rummage sale and bake sale is less than 2 weeks away. We need your help, and there are many ways to do it. Next Sunday after service, we need help setting up the tables. Then the following Monday through Friday, we need help putting the sale items on the tables and pricing them. We need baked goods. I need a voice. We need workers for the day of the sale. Most of all, we need help marketing the sale. On your seats are flyers. Please take one home, post it at your neighborhood store, restaurant, apartment building, or wherever there is a community bulletin board. You can also post on social media to spread the word, and you can help make signs the day of the sale. There is an organizational meeting Wednesday at 1 o'clock here at the church. All are welcome. There are also sign-up sheets in the foyer. Please sign up so we know how much help we have. If you have any questions, Mary Lenny or Leslie Haas will be available after the service. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is a special time in our service that we've been doing this, allowing some of our folks that are new to us to talk about their experience here. Hayagwa and Dave, I know that you've got some words that you'd like to share, so if the three of you would come forward, that would be fabulous.
We asked Kai to do this, but he's too shy to speak.
Yeah.
David, can we have slide number 1? So we were asked to say a few words in support of the pledge drive, so go pledge drive. And we also want to tell you a little bit about our history of coming to the UU and why we're still coming to the UU. It all began for us in Kauai. Yeah, where we lived for 16 years, but circumstances developed which required us to move back to the mainland.
And so we moved to North Carolina. Slide.
Not our most brilliant decision.
And from there we came here to South Carolina. Slide. And you can see in the background of this picture our friends Chris and Patrick. They were visiting. When they left, we realized that we had moved here without knowing a soul, and we really wanted community. And so, next
Slide. So we were all alone and lonely, not knowing what to do, and so we decided to ask advice from our wise friends who are spread all over the country. Slide.
And our friends were pretty much in agreement about what we needed to do. Slide, please.
And they all said, this is the South. If you want to meet people, you've got to join a church, which was met with the reaction on the following slide.
Nevertheless, we persisted and we did explore a few of the local options. Slide, please.
None of which were very satisfactory to us.
Yeah, slide, please. But we kept going. Slide, please. And we finally came across the webpage you see up there, although I think it's been updated. And Dave was still pretty resistant, even though this page featured the word liberal and socially progressive.
Plus, I knew the guy in the photograph because he was a member of our writing group, but the woman looked kind of suspect to me.
So I still didn't quite have him convinced to come. Slide, please. But then I told him the subject of the sermon for the week.
We had both been recently in graduate school, and the topic of multicultural competence and sensitivity had been pounded into us. And the idea of coming to a talk on that topic at a church, that was pretty amazing.
And so we showed up, and it was a remarkable service. Ann Harrison gave one of her really heart-touching talks that day, and then Charlie did the announcements and the opening words. And from both of them, we just felt such kindness radiating from the stage. It was quite remarkable. And then the screen came down, and there was Neil on the screen.
And it was one of the best talks I have ever heard on the topic. It was moving, it was insightful, it was powerful. My mind was blown.
And so we came back the next week and the next week and basically kept coming back until we were hopelessly addicted to being here. And some of the reasons why we keep coming back are to master microphone skills. No, next slide, please.
So these are the riches that we have found here at the UU. It's a place where values are emphasized over doctrine for us. It's a place that has a broad humanitarian orientation. It's a place where people walk the walk, and you don't see that in a lot of places in the world. It's a place where a sense of humor is welcome. It's a place where we cherish our humanity and the fact that we're all broken. It's a place, where there was four amazing pastors, where smart, competent people are in the same room with you at the same time, where people are givers more than takers, and where the emphasis is on goodness over greatness.
So in short, we came here looking for community, but found so much more than that. I mean, we did find a community of people who shared our values, almost like down to the small t, and that's remarkable in itself. But we also found inspiration, which is something I don't think either of us ever expected to find. I never leave here without a renewed determination to be a better person, and that I'm just so grateful for in my life.
And for me, one of the things I've discovered here that I value most is that I have the opportunity to explore my own spirituality in my own terms and do it in the company of all of you incredible explorers. So thank you.
And Kai thanks you too.
Thanks, guys. That was a fabulous. I'm embarrassed to stand up here now. And I have a slideshow. So one of the things that I encouraged us to do last Sunday, we'll do so again, is just be as brief as you can in your announcements and your joys and concerns. Look at the clock that's in the back when you step up to speak so that we can see where you are. I want to honor and respect you and your time. We want to honor and respect our speakers. And so just be encouraged with that. That's just the way that we can continue to move forward and all of us have a chance to be able to bring our joys and concerns. Dick Hood, you have the opening words.
Good morning. I feel like I'm of a previous generation. I'm not on television. I don't have any slides. I'm just right out of the 19th century. A man, a white, aged man standing up speaking. This morning I'm going to share a couple of stories. It's going to be a story Sunday. But before I do that, just a couple of very brief announcements from me. First is that Flower Communion is coming up on May 12th. And for those of you who have been through Flower Communion before, I think you understand that it is really a special time in this sanctuary. And it's one of the few rituals that we Unitarian Universalists embrace. So it is a special time. I hope you'll be able to make it. And we do ask that if you can, that you bring one or two or even maybe 3 or 4 flowers to participate in that communion service. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, I want to let you know that after I'm doing Flower Communion on May 12th. But after that, my wife and I are going on our usual hiatus to Maine. But it's a little different this year that I've decided after 50 some odd years of preaching that I'm going to take a sabbatical. Now, in almost all UU churches, when the minister takes a sabbatical, the minister continues to get paid. However, that is not the case here. So you will see us on Zoom, Molly and I on Zoom. We'll be attending online, but you won't see me from the pulpit till October, and that may either be Zoom or here. We're not quite sure what our plans are. I have 2 stories this morning. The first one I want to tell, and for most of you, it will be a very familiar story, but I've found a modern translation to share with you. A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by him on the other side. So too, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed him by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii and he gave them to the innkeeper. And he said, "Look after him, and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense you might have." Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers? The expert in law replied, "The one who had mercy on him." Jesus then said, "Go and do likewise." We have a spring hymn this morning, number 42. Please rise if you're willing and able. Morning so fair to see.
In sustaining our community and sharing from our abundance, let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us. A community of memory and of hope, for we are now the keepers of the dream. Phyllis. Thank you for your generosity.
This is the time we share our joys and concerns. And the first joy of the day is that yesterday was John's 81st birthday. So join me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear John. Happy birthday to you. Betsy, do you have a report? Betsy's going to report for the Care Committee.
And this is my trusty cane beside me. Good morning, everyone. You all look so beautiful and colorful this morning. It's so good to see you. Okay, unfortunately, we have a lot. Jackie Stahl plans to return to services by April 28th. Her dad is at home, but still needs support. They're in Pennsylvania. Is Jim Weston here today? No. Okay, he isn't. Well, he and Jan were planning to come, and they're at home now, and they're doing okay. Lynn Nornberg is back. However, she wrote me last night, Betsy, we won't be in church tomorrow. Gordon fell and hit his head on the garage floor. We went to the ER and Gordon had a CT scan. We worried the gash was close to his shunt. The shunt is okay, but he has a bad headache. April, that's her daughter, is doing well. She is expected to be discharged tomorrow or Monday. You can tell the congregation. Thank you. Okay, Marietta. This is thanks to Lynn Curtis, who got this information for us from Marietta. Marietta is on the critical care unit at Memorial Hospital in Savannah. She is doing much better and hoping to be discharged this next week to a skilled nursing facility. Her children and grandchildren have been able to see her and give her lots of love. The cards and notes from us have done so much good and are much appreciated. Please keep it up because this community is helping to give her strength. Marietta is a person of so much determination. She is determined to be better and to be just discharged. Knowing her, she will. Okay. Ray Haley. Okay, Ray, his wife reports that he is in Memorial Hospital critical care unit with a bad infection. The infection is in his spine and is a result of 2 prior falls he's had. Kathleen is expecting that the next step will be putting him in hospice. That was quick, wasn't it? He was just here and he was just up there singing. Kathleen says that our congregation means a great deal to him. Please send cards of love to Ray. And let's keep him in our hearts. He is a dear man. Okay, Marcella Palmer, I don't think she's here today. But I owe her an apology. She was very sick January and February, and we did not know. So I really need your help. Please look around at the people that sit near you. And if you see someone that hasn't been coming, please call them up, find out how they are. Or if you don't want to do that, give their name to me and I'll do it. Because I just feel so badly. Marietta is so appreciated here. And we didn't give her love and support because we didn't know. Marcella, sorry. I am old. Okay, and lastly, this is personal. Please keep my brother John in your hearts. He's having rather serious surgery tomorrow, and I love him. And if something happens to John, I am toast. So please, think about him. Okay, you guys, thank you. You are wonderful.
Now, if any of you have a joy or concern that you'd like to share, come forward, take a stone from the basket, tell us who you are and what your joy or concern is, and then return the stone to the cairn. Please, no announcements and no political statements.
It's a different view from down with the regular folk here. My joy is, many of you might not know that I'm, in addition to preaching once in a while, I'm a member of the Finance Committee. We had our meeting on Thursday, and Marietta Kerr joined us in the meeting from her hospital bed using her iPad. And that is true courage and devotion, and it's a real joy to, I'm sure, to everybody.
Hi, I'm Diana. I just wanted to say that is Tina here today? There she is. So Tina and I joined the Zoom meeting, the Jubilee, with the Social Justice Committee regarding anti-racism. And we've been there Friday from 6 to 9. Yesterday from 9 in the morning till 8:30 at night. Yes, you did hear that right. And then today after church from noon till 6, I think, yeah. So it's a full weekend about the history of systemic racism, and in a nutshell, how we, women in particular, white women need to be talking to each other more and supporting each other more, as well as black women. We have more power than we think. So we'll be summarizing more as time goes on. So that's a joy and a concern, because we have a lot of work to do, especially with the election coming up. We really need to get people voting. The other thing is I'm going to Australia and New Zealand next month for a few weeks, so I won't be here. I'm going to miss the 12th. So I always miss things, and I hate that part of traveling. But it'll be my 7th continent. Now after that I can die. No, but you know what I'm saying. It's on my bucket list. Thank you.
I'm going to just explain to you what it's like to be married to David. 3 minutes, I'm watching the clock. Settle down. So in a typical week, in a typical day, he's always making sure I'm okay. Everything's good. You need anything? What would you like? I can do this for you? Okay. The man has a tumor in his head, and he sees double vision constantly. I could do that for about a weekend, and then you would want to divorce me. I know that. I've already been clear about that. We're going on 3 years of this. It's a long time. But anyway, even though that's happening, we had my mom this weekend with us, and my sister is away. And, Ellen, could you have David just check my toilet? The handle is, I don't know. And we go by the house. David goes in. My mother barely has time to get the mail. He's like, okay, I fixed it. Just fixed it. Okay, we go for a bike ride. We go stop by some of my clients are in a nursing home. We go in, we visit them, and we get ready to leave. And the woman across the hall says, oh, my computer is dim and I can't. And Next thing you know, it's not your computer, it's your cell phone, and David's in there fixing it. Right? Everywhere he goes. Now, Saturday, it's not a day we generally come to the church, but this Saturday it was, because Gary, and everyone knows Gary, and all of his wisdom and his, push to get things done around here, had that TV installed in the foyer, which you probably all saw when we came in, and he made sure that was done. But there are some things that are on the TV that you're seeing. That didn't happen by magic. That was David, and he did that too. And I just think that, some things I could never imagine how you do that. I would never imagine how do you do that. And he does it just so quickly and so behind the scenes. And, we're here on a Saturday and he's doing that. And I just want to give a shout out to him because he's got a birthday coming up on May 5th.
The skill in this room is extraordinary. I have a concern. My concern is, until a few moments ago, I used to have a pair of hearing aids. One of them might be out there somewhere. So keep an eye out. If you find one, if you step on it, that's okay, but just keep an eye out. That's my concern. Thank you very much.
Wow. Don't forget the rock.
I thought he was going to say he'd had a healing. Will you join me in affirmation number 548 in the back of the hymnal? We stand at the edge of summer. The sun has at last warmed us enough that we begin to trust in its presence. The last burst of spring blossoms, lavender and white and deep pink banks of rhododendron, are giving way to summer peonies and roses, our source of the turning seasons, of earth, of life, of promise, gradually becoming fulfillment. May your people find a lightening of the burdens with the brightening of the sky.
This morning's sermon is going to be primarily a story. And I take a real risk doing that because one of the things I've noticed in all the years I've been preaching is when I start to use somebody else's words, like, oh, and as they said in this book, blah, 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 I get at least 30% of people who nod their head and don't pay as close attention. And sometimes I wonder if maybe if I give a quote, maybe I'm putting somebody actually to sleep, or at least dozing a little bit. But attention decreases when you use somebody else's words. And that's why you may notice I seldom use somebody else's words. But today is the risk because I'm going to tell a story, and it's not a story that I wrote. I was thinking about that and remembering that in the 18th and 19th century, church services went 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and if you wanted a sermon, if you were a minister, you were expected to preach at least an hour, if not more. Boy, they knew how to do it back then. And I imagine that there were a lot of people that were going, yeah, right. But they had a solution for people that didn't pay attention. And in the 18th and 19th century now, it was called a tithing stick. And because I'm taking this big risk and I don't want anybody to doze off, I am asking Charlie if he would just do a little favor for me. This is a 21st century tithing stick based on historical fact that in some churches, this is trivia knowledge, they actually just had a knob where people nudge people. But I guess if the minister was more humanist and more caring, they put a feather on the end of it. So I'm presenting this only temporarily because I had to borrow the damn feather, pardon me. I'm presenting this to Charlie. You can go down now.
I see. Oh, thank you.
But pay attention.
I see you out there.
Yeah, that's right.
Historical fact. In many churches, one end was the feather, the other end was the knob for the ones who couldn't get woken.
I did that this morning because this sermon's really pretty serious, and I try to inject a little bit of humor, and I got to tell you, there is no humor much from now on, so I hope you enjoyed it. The title of the sermon is The Way Life Should Be. And that's an interesting slogan, and it is a slogan for many people that has a somewhat special meaning. And the reason is if you are driving into the state of Maine from the state of New Hampshire, as it's about the only way, it's the only major way to get to Maine, there is a sign, big sign. And for years, the sign said, "Welcome to Maine, the way life should be." And that had it grabbed a lot of people. And I know, quite frankly, it grabbed me because it was always the feeling that this is kind of a reaffirmation of perhaps a slightly slower way of life. It's perhaps a way that, an affirmation that people cared for one another just a little bit more, that life was a little slower. And here's how important that sign and that motto is. The sign was up for years until about now 12 years, maybe 14 years ago, the state of Maine elected, and I have to be careful with my words here, an uncaring governor. I'll only let you imagine what party he was a member of. And that governor, in all his wisdom, said, "Take that sign down," and he put up another sign, and it said, "Maine, open for business." True story. And there was an uproar, interestingly enough, that he did that. And it was such an uproar that he agreed finally to add a little thing on the bottom of his Maine open for business sign that said, "Maine, the way life should be." We now have a much more, I thought, enlightened governor. And when she, notice this is a she now, was elected for her first term. Excuse me, the door just opened. I wonder if I'm getting a message. When she was elected for her first term, she decided, well, maybe we should put up a different sign. That sign's been up a long time. And so she had a sign put up, "Maine, welcome home." Nice thought. Very nice thought. But that didn't satisfy the citizens of Maine that said, wait a minute, you took down our slogan. You took down something that has emotional and spiritual meaning to us. Put that motto back up. And in fairness, she did. She did just like the old governor. It still says, "Maine, welcome home," but down there's a nice little sign that says, "Maine, the way life should be." It has meaning for people. And that slogan has some meaning for me because it says to me two things. It says, life can be better, but that it's possible that life can be better. It's possible that we can be kinder and more caring. We can be more spiritual, however you want to define it. There's always room for improvement. It's the way life should be. Our congregation has been through, in the past few months, it's been a time of trauma, with the number of deaths that have occurred to loyal members of this congregation and the number of spouses who are left facing a readjustment of their lives. This has been a difficult time. But it's also been a time, I think, this is my judgment, that under the leadership of Charlie and Betsy, this is a time that this congregation has really come together to help and show sympathy and kindness and support to our community. Just like in Maine, the way life should be, supposedly, we show in Maine more support for our community and for the people in it. And so part of this sermon is to congratulate you. Not that we couldn't have done better. Probably we always can do better. But we do a darn good job in this congregation, and it's really thankful to the leadership, I think, of two people. But there's probably literally thousands of acts of kindness that go unnoticed right in this very room. Acts that were given and acts that were received. And that's the way life should be. Having said that, I want to read a story. Got the stick? Okay, good. Oh, whoa, Wade's got the stick. I don't know if I trust Wade with the stick. This is from a book entitled Enjoying Maine by a gentleman named Bill Caldwell. And in this particular book, he writes vignettes about a large number of Maine villages and people that he's met, things that have occurred within these little villages. And it's a feel-good book. There's no question about that. And it's a book that kind of goes along with that slogan that's on the Maine Turnpike. This particular story has special meaning to me because the village that he's writing about is the village that Molly and I have been part of for 49 years. Wow. 49 years we've been going. Everybody wants to know, don't you want to go to vacation someplace else? No. We want to go back to the same place. There is a certain comfort in going back where we know people, and this little village of New Harbor, it hasn't really changed much at all until they tore down the old bank and built a new bank. But other than that, it's pretty much the same. And this is his story about New Harbor, Maine. Among fishermen, out of the same harbor, there is usually a close camaraderie unknown to men who work on shore. One lobsterman and his boat depend on others, sometimes for his very life, and the life of his boat as well. So fishermen look out for one another. They never say much about it. They don't need to. Their actions speak volumes. Take the way it works down in New Harbor, where I keep my boat. Once in a while, we get word that so-and-so has not come back when expected. The word gets around fast on some inexplicable grapevine made up of wharf talk, CB radio, and maybe just a rap at the door. Charlie's not back. I apologize, Charlie, it's not a reference to you. It does say Charlie in the story. Charlie's not back. I'm going. You want to? That's about all that is said. And then at the dark of night, you hear the oarlocks creaking as punts, that's small rowboats, make their way out of the moorings. Then you hear the engines of the lobster boats break and start up, and boats begin moving out as if it were dawn instead of night. Then the CB radios get busy, and everyone is listening if they are not talking and arranging who will search where. And then soon the big draggers join in. Draggers are the bigger fishing boats. And it doesn't matter at Tinker's Dam if they just got home, out they go. Everybody out to look. And I guess the guy who was lost, who hasn't made it back to harbor, knows all this will happen. He knows it doesn't matter now that he was feuding with this fellow, or owned another fellow money, or had a fight last week with another one of them. They'll all be looking out, and he'd be looking out for any of them. Or take a different condition. It's summer weather and the lobsters are crawling in close to the rocks. So your traps are close in. And one day you are out there and your engine quits. And it's a lee shore, which means the wind is blowing towards the land. And the sea is running. You are in a mess. Likely to lose your boat, if not yourself. So you heave anchor and get on the radio and call other boats from your harbor. They'll come, regardless of the weather, regardless of the sea. They'll come in close enough to somehow get a line on you, and then they'll haul you off the rocks, out of danger, and tow you back in. Of course, no money passes. In fact, not even a lot of words are exchanged. Most times, the man and his boat are both rescued. But once in a while, both are lost. And when that happens down here in New Harbor, there's a service in the church. And it's hard to recognize all those rugged faces popping up with wearing jackets and shirts and ties. And the minister reads old prayers of the sea, prayers read in seaports for missing men as long as Bibles have been in print. Then the organist plays the hymns of the sea, and you see Adam's apples bobbing, and eyes filling up, and throats doing a lot of swallowing, and thick, strong, calloused hands rub overflowing eyes. And the men who fished with the lost fishermen go and talk a few words to the widow and her youngsters. And this Maine fishing village comes together. Strong, helping, supportive to their own in need. The sadness is terrible, but the good that comes out of it is enormous. The suits and ties are shed, the work and clothes go back on, and before long, you hear the engines and the boats are going out again, -1. And this is the way life should be. I don't have my order of service. What's the last hymn number?
67.
Thank you. Can we join together in number 67?
There is in the bottom of your order of worship an announcement that there will be no discussion group after service. There will be discussion group after service. Talk back will be held as normal. So please, if you would, stay and linger. Those of you who are guests and visitors, I'd like to offer that to you so that you can see exactly who we are and what we're about. And I also see that Mary Watson is with us today. And so, Mary, welcome back. It's been a long journey for you. Dick, thank you so much for a trip to Maine. I feel like I'm there now. And it's good to know that if I'm stuck on the rocks, somebody in Maine will come and get me. Dick, if you would, please, closing remark.
First of all, thank you. Charlie did not have to use his iPhone stick. The closing words are from a woman named Reverend Laureline of Bellamy. If here you have found freedom, take it with you into the world. If you have found comfort, go and share it with others. If you have dreamed dreams, help one another that they may come true. If you have known love, give some back to what is often a bruised and hurting world.
Time now to extinguish the chalice. While we extinguish this flame, we still carry in our hearts the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment until we are together